Dude, I'm live. Early. 1 minute early. I hit the go live button, wondering I could get ready to hit the next step, but it just threw me in live. All right, so we got to wait 1 minute, unfortunately, for the start of this live hangout. Okay. Snowdrop Wood is saying, looking forward to this. Me too. Oh man, we're gonna have a fun night tonight. You have no idea. Okay. So here we are at Christ on the Edge. I think that kind of ruffles some feathers. We're starting. We're live right now. 8:30. Here we go. So today, feel free to write questions in the chat if you like. We are going to talk about the hierarchy of the spiritual world and how it all works and what it looks like, the map and everything like that. Before we get into this, you're probably wondering why I chose to speak about the hierarchy of the spiritual world today. So when I first created Christ on the Edge and I put my little newsletter out there and started talking about it, I thought that the majority of people watching would be people who already believed in Jesus Christ. And, so like in the first live hangout, I kind of focused on I just expected that there would just be mainly people who believed in Jesus Christ, and there were certain things that I didn't really need to talk about because it's just known or whatever. But after I did that live hangout, I realized that there are many people actually who are watching these videos that believe that Jesus Christ existed in this world and might have been an enlightened master and walked this earth, but they don't necessarily believe 100% that he's the actual Son of God. And so I thought I would just kind of pull back a little bit and cater just in the beginning here. We're going to go deep into what we do here. Just to pull back a little bit here and kind of just cater to these people just so I can give them an understanding of how it truly is. Okay. So there's a whole entire spiritual world, and whether you believe it or not, it's there. All of these, there's lots of sensations that you feel all the time. You're unsure what it is. There's a spiritual world going on out there. It's just as real as the physical world, if not even more real. And so there's a whole, I guess you could say, hierarchy in there, and there are the entire purpose of many of these entities, spiritual entities that are out there floating around, causing all sorts of chaos amongst humans. Their main goal out of everything is to get you to not believe in Jesus Christ. That's like the number one thing that they can do to gain more power, to gain more life. Because if everyone started believing, they would lose power and they would lose life. It's almost like, I'm not 100% certain this is what's going on, but they're kind of like feeding off of the aspect of people who do not believe, people who are doing things in a certain way and worship and stuff like that. It's almost like batteries to fuel themselves. And without the batteries, they're just like, blah, they don't have anything. So the whole purpose is to get you to not believe in Jesus Christ. That's what they do. This is like history, true history. And I'm not here, to try to convince you to believe in Jesus Christ. I don't know who's watching this, and personally, nothing bad, nothing I'm just here in the name of Jesus for trying to speak help in some way or whatsoever. I get nothing out of this. Um, if you don't believe, nothing, impacts me. What do I get out of getting you to believe? Like my ego? Is that what this is? Like, no, there's nothing in it for me. I'm just here as a messenger. So their whole purpose is to get you to not believe. So you'll probably see it on Facebook, comments and stuff like that. Oh, there's so many different religions. Why would this one be the one? Or there's so many old school books. If you listen to podcasts, there's these. The Bible has been altered. There's proof of other ancient scriptures and all this nonsense to try to get you away from the truth. Who is bringing this stuff to the world? All of this information saying the Bible has been altered. There's other scriptures that are actual truth or whatever that it's been altered, and there's true Bible scriptures and stuff like this. So as we talked about last week, there's something called possession, and we all experience it to some degree. It's like these things are just flying around, and that's like their goal. They control people at different degrees, and some people they control 100%. So it's very easy for them. And again, remember, their goal is to get you to not believe. So it's very easy for them to possess humans and get them to say these things, get them to believe it 100%, and say the scriptures have been changed, and the whole world, the whole entire spiritual world is based on trying to get you not to believe in Jesus Christ. That's what they do. And so it is so blatantly obvious look, where is he? He does not do this often like that. I don't know if he's about to vomit or something. There he goes. Okay, guys. You know what's classic about this? This is like classic. And let me explain. It's almost like he wants humor in everything. We're going to get back on this topic in a second. I was kind of going off base there anyways. I was just trying to explain one point. I got a question from someone. We're going to come right back on. Vomit's coming out of the cat's mouth right now. This is just lies perfectly with this. So nobody's been asking questions, but I just got some this week. And my first question, I was really excited to get a question. You have no idea. And but the question turned into something else. As I was reading it, I was like so excited. Hello, Matt. You previously mentioned sending in questions that we might have for you. As a fellow sister of Christ, my question for you would be, why did you use God's name in vain? Please don't take this the wrong way. I was excited to watch your Zoom, and the first thing that happened was you realized your camera lens was dirty, and you said, "Oh my God." It was a big turn off. However, I continue to watch. I pray for you that you would have discernment on you using God's name in vain. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it to your attention so you could be more aware. I'll be tuning in again, though. Blessings to you and your family. I was like, darn, that wasn't like a real question. That was more of like a... Okay, so the reason why I do this, I'm sharing this testimonial now, is because it's classic, just like what happened with the cat. So before this previous hangout, I sent out a newsletter saying, at my retreat, there was a woman there, and I removed all of these unclean spirits. Her countenance completely changed. I'm sitting here like claiming to be like that I have special abilities, and I did all of these different things. Like it's just what happened. I'm not like attached to bragging or anything. In fact, for many years, I've been experiencing things like this, but I've kept it quiet based on wrong advice from the person who stole my land. And I've always kept it quiet. And then all of a sudden, something clicked. I've got to be speaking plainly of God. Why else would he be giving me all this information? And I'm just out here giving everything now. It's what I'm supposed to do. I know it. And so here I am, like claiming all of this, that this happened and all these different things. And I come to the video, haven't used my camera in a while, and it was completely blurry. My computer had all this gunk all over the camera. And it was like, here I come saying, I'm here with Jesus. I'm speaking plainly, God, making all these claims. And all of a sudden it's just like this complete mess. The first thing that happens, there was gunk on my computer. So I had to like lick something and do like that. And it's almost like, let's just say I'm one of God's prophets. Like, I'm not saying I am, but it's like so classic that had happened. It was like perfect. It's like the humor I'm talking about. And so I said, oh my God. She's claiming that is putting God's name in vain. So she says, she says it with absolute certainty that I am putting God's name in vain. Like this is her assertion. But the judge of that isn't her if I'm putting God's name in vain. It's Jesus's. And so I'm sitting here just in wonder saying, oh my God, like, oh my God, can you believe that this just happened? It was just so classic. And here I am, like, just like trying to get this point across about how Jesus, like the whole entire point of the spiritual world is trying to convince you that Jesus is not the Son of God and the Bible is not true. That's like their whole purpose. And that's why this happens. And I was stuck on it. I couldn't get past it. And then the cat starts meowing like in the weirdest way I have ever heard him meow and starts vomiting right on camera. That was just, oh my God. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very careful about not using God's name in vain. Like, I can't stand when I hear in movies or when someone says God, duh, and then like, they say that word that a beaver makes to stop water, that like, no, that's putting God's name in vain in my personal opinion. But saying, oh my God, like I'll say it over and over and over again. This is why I created Christ on the Edge. This is it. It's like many people don't believe in Jesus Christ and the Bible and God because of militant Christians. They're like always pointing the finger, like every last thing you do, like as a child, like you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And so that's why I said, if it's not part of the 10 Commandments, let's do this. This is what Christ on the Edge is. We take it to the limits. Oh my God, we take it to the limits here. Okay, so all these people are okay. So that was that one question. We have even some more questions, which is exciting, but that's not what we're here to talk about. The hierarchy of the spiritual world and how all these spiritual entities' purpose is to get you not to believe. That's the entire purpose. They'll get you to believe that he was just an enlightened master walking the streets, or whatever there is. But I'm here to tell you tonight that Jesus Christ, Lord Jesus Christ, is the Son of God and has all power over all. And the way let's just go straight into the hierarchy of the spiritual world. So before we do that, the main purpose of life for all humans is to make one choice. You either believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God or you don't. That's your purpose in life. Right there. That's the number one purpose of everybody's existence. And then if you've made that choice to believe, then your purpose in life is to do everything in your power that you possibly can to follow the 10 commandments. That's your purpose in life. Of course, we want to be good people and be of service and things like that. That's also purpose also. But this is the main thing. And the reason why I am so adamant about this is like, time's running out. I know I sound like a preacher saying you're going to go to hell or whatever, but it's different. Time is running out. And if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're fucked. Literally. Literally. You have no idea what is going to happen to you. And here I sound like a militant Christian, like saying these things. But I'm just trying to get this point across. Everything out there in the spiritual world is trying to get you to not fulfill your purpose of believing in Jesus Christ. That's their main goal. You take life from them and you give it to yourself because they have no more power. They lose you. And it's not just you. I believe that it's a bigger thing, which is really freaky when we go into that. Have you ever just like walked into, like, for example, I've gone into town, right? And all of a sudden, everybody's eyes are on me. It's not really the people necessarily looking at me. It could be this huge spirit that like comes in, encompasses all the people and puts all the eyes onto me. The spiritual world is at play in such a big way you would not believe. Okay, so now let's talk about the hierarchy of the spiritual world. This is why I was coming here. And the main reason why I wanted to share the hierarchy of the spiritual world is because of all the people who are watching. I thought everybody was believers, but they're not. I discovered after the last First Live Hangout. And I want you to realize that this is critical to understand. And you've got to believe. And the whole purpose of the spiritual world is to get you not to believe. They're going to lie to you. They're going to possess people telling you that the Bible has been altered. There are secret, true ancient scriptures that the Bible truly was. No. Don't believe that stuff. All you have to do is believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. So, in the spiritual world, just like in the physical world, it's a battle of power. Political, all that stuff, it's a battle of power. But what's truly behind it is spiritual power. The spiritual world is even grander, more grand in the battle for power. It's a bloody, nasty, disgusting war out there for power. Everything is fighting to be at the top, and they use humans. It interlinks with the political aspects. Everything. It's all about the power. So what is the power here? Like what's the map? Like what's here, what's here, then what's under that, what's under that? That's the spiritual hierarchy we're talking about. And and there is one. There's a spiritual hierarchy. And so this it's a bloody thing for power. Like you see it in politics, people are trying to kill each other. It's the same thing in the spiritual world, but it's more like war, bloody war. And out here in the physical human world, it's more like the Democrats are stupid, the Republicans are stupid, or everything, even in like little at church, people are blah, 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 or here, blah, 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 and yoga. Like, it's not bloody. It's all spiritual moves. But in the spiritual world, it's a freaking bloody environment. There's blood shed all the time, everywhere. You like wouldn't believe it. You feel it, but you don't realize it. I get sliced all the time. So How is this spiritual hierarchy? Okay. So the ultimate power at the very top is God, has all power. If he says something, it happens. You can't stop it from happening. Like nothing can stop that. It's the ultimate power. Nothing can do anything. And then this God, the highest power of all, brought his son, Jesus Christ, to the world, who suffered for us all, who died on the cross for us all, and he was granted power over all everything. So God is right here, and then Jesus is right here, and nothing, no Hare Krishna, no Buddha, no yoga god, no Shiva can do anything. They can't do anything. They can't even hurt him. Jesus Christ is like God. He has been given all power by God. We're going to go deeper down here a little bit more, but this is all you really need to know about. This is the highest power of all. That's why that's why they say fear God in the Bible, fear God. This is critical. I fear God like crazy. I act righteous because I fear God. We all sin, we're all evil, but because I fear God, I do everything in my power to be as good as possible. My girls just got back. So let me just tell a story of what happened once. I was in town, and there were this group of Hare Krishna folks hanging out in this one little area by the bank. And they all had drums, and they were going, playing their drums, and I walk into town, and it was like a trance, and I could sense that this trance was pulling energy from bystanders that were just around in town walking by. It was like a meditative, trying to zone people in so they could drain them and take their energy. That energy is the greatest spiritual currency there is. That's why there's such a powerful fight. It's greater than money. It's greater than anything you can possibly imagine. It's that spiritual energy that is the greatest currency in existence. And so they're like pulling all this energy, putting people in a trance, and like getting them to go. And I walk by, and I'm like, here they are. I'm like walking by, and I look at them and this thing that's encompassing them, and I'm like, what are you doing? I didn't say that out loud. I said it in the spiritual, like, what are you doing? You know, like, you're disgusting. Like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, this spiritual serpent type thing that was encompassing, we're talking about God plainly here. I don't care anymore. This is just what it is. This is what I'm supposed to do. This spiritual serpent that was encompassing them, like practically controlling them all and gathering them all together. It's kind of like, you know, when you see a school of fish and they go all in the same direction, it's just amazing. Or birds that just fly together. And if you look from a distance, it's almost like they create a shape. That's like a spirit that they're all encompassed in. Or the school of fish, like, they're all falling within that spiritual thing. They're encompassed in that. So they're in this Hare Krishna spirit, right? And this thing like slimes me and like bites me, and I'm like, oh, you guys, I've been through hell and back. Like, I can handle that type of thing. And I'm just like sitting there walking by, like, whatever. Like, I just, you know, I don't ever do offense. I'm all about defense. And defense in the spiritual world is the greatest power of all. It's almost like eternal life on some level, like, and it's enduring pain and suffering, picking up your cross. And so I kid you not, as I'm walking away or coming back around, walking away, all of a sudden these comets from heaven come down and go boom right into into this group of the spirit. And then another one, boom. And then another one, boom. And then all of a sudden, their tune from pulling energy, all of a sudden their music turned into Hare Krishna. It's almost like they were dying. Hare Krishna until the end. And it was just like them not stealing energy from the town anymore, but they were just like, I didn't have to do anything. And so what I'm trying to say here is there's a hierarchy in the spiritual world, and Jesus wasn't having it. And Hare Krishna is, an almighty, powerful God, but to Jesus, he's just a little ant, flick. And to anyone who believes in Jesus Christ, Jesus had my back right then. He has everybody's back. You're like untouchable. Yes, there's going to be crazy amounts of suffering, crazy amounts, just like that's the purpose of picking up your cross and suffering. That's why Paul always said, I suffer in Jesus Christ. That's why all his disciples say, I'm here suffering in Jesus Christ's name. That's like what they do. When you have that amount of power, spiritual power, everything wants it. So you're going to suffer. So the hierarchy of the spiritual world is God, Jesus, who was gifted all power over all everything in the world, universe, earth, everything, all heaven and earth. And then there's this just bloody mess war that's going on underneath that. It's crazy. And I'd like to say something. He says, he gives a quote, like in the Bible, a passage. Let me see if I can find it in here. His yoke is loose. Like, okay, for example, the guy who stole my land consciously worshiped the devil. I didn't realize that at the time. He fooled me by making me believe he was like a person with Jesus Christ. That's like a whole other story. And when you worship other gods, whether it's Krishna, Buddha, or anything, it's lethal. You're like giving your soul away. It's like the yoke is really tight. You'll be thrown away like trash. Just like this guy was. He went to jail, who stole my land, and like what he did. There's a passage in the Bible that says, if you lead one of my little ones in the wrong way, it would be better if you had a millstone wrapped around your head and was thrown in the water. And that's what's happening to him. He's in jail, like just suffering endlessly. So what I'm saying is, I will get to that passage when I find it here, and I'll say it out loud. But here it is. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. When you worship other gods, the yoke is not easy and it's not light. You will be forsaken in an instant. So what I'm trying to say here is your life is on the line. This is, as I was saying, I thought that everybody who was going to watch this believed. I didn't believe that I was going to actually get people that didn't. I didn't think it was going to happen. I'm just trying to drill this in first. And that's why I'm explaining that there's a hierarchy of the spiritual world. Jesus is at the top. Nothing can touch that. No Buddha, no Krishna, no nothing. And our purpose is either to believe or not to believe. And I'm telling you right now that your life is on the line here. This isn't like fun and games, guys. You need to believe or you're screwed, literally, royally. This isn't like And I'm rough here, guys. I'm cool with the raw food, cool dude. And when it comes to like customer service, I'm gonna be like bending. I'm gonna be bowing and not bowing, but like going head over heels for you. But when we're here, I'm gonna tell the truth and just be like, hey, this is why we're here. For example, one guy said to me at the last hangout, like, you like he was like, I declare you are going to be healed, you're going to be this, this, and this, and healthy, and get your life back and live back. I knew at that moment that he got this tingly sensation vibration to just blah, 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 spit that out. He didn't mention like in Jesus in one sentence there. It was like he declared it himself. Someone saying they love the longer hair. Everybody in my videos, I'm trying to stay away from all that, but everyone in my videos has been saying, you should grow your hair. I'm like, no, just leave me alone. And then my daughter Arai was like, she's like, you have to do it. And I'm like, all right. So I'm going back to the way it was. This is 4 months. Anyway. So that's what the hierarchy of the spiritual world looks like. God gifted all power to Jesus. Nothing can touch that. The rest is just a big spiritual war, garbly mess, fighting, bloody mess, fighting for spiritual. And like I just told you the Hare Krishna story about how they were just like, blah, blah, blah. If you're tuning in late, that's all right. Watch it from the beginning. Okay. Okay, so I was saying earlier that our purpose in life, everybody's purpose in life, everybody, their purpose is either to believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of God or not to. That's your purpose in life. That's your purpose in life, whoever's watching this. And if you made that choice to believe that Lord Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then your purpose is to perform the 10 commandments to the best of your ability. That's your ongoing life purpose after that, is to follow the 10 commandments to the best of your ability as much as you possibly can. And next month, I'm going to be doing my live hangout based on the 10 commandments. So, there's like, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't murder, all these other things. Now, these are all the 10 commandments, but we're going to go a little deeper. And you might not want to watch that because ignorance is bliss. When you know something, it's kind of like, you're doing something wrong or whatever. So, for example, don't commit adultery. That's one of the 10 commandments. However, Jesus says, I said this in one of my previous newsletters here at Christ on the Edge, like if you lust for a woman and you don't physically commit adultery, you committed adultery in your heart. And we talked about how that creates entry points for spirit. They're just like feeding off of you, right? Like when you do something, then you have to fight and you try not to do that anymore. And when they're feeding off you like that, and this is very good to know, when you've lusted over another woman and you're a married man or woman who lusted over a man or whatever, they enter, right? And then that aspect of lusting over another, or just sex in general, is this thing that's in you is causing it to happen in a greater extent, more often, crazy, because you need to learn to not do that. And you need this lesson to where that thing is in you, causing even more chaos because you just did this one thing of lusting over someone else when you're not supposed to. It's in there. And now you're lusting even more because that's what this thing does. And now you have to fight harder to not do that. And then when you fight hard enough and do this focus work on spiritual, and actually, like, what you're doing is you're paying attention and you're not doing that lusting thing anymore, or when you're whatever. And at some point, if you succeed, this thing, poof, and you're like, oh, I felt so good. And then you're going to not want to do it again. And it's just this loop that you're going to keep going through until you learn the lesson and stop. And then Jesus, when you say sorry and you promise not to do it ever again, He might give you more power to where this thing can't easily come and do that type of thing. So the point of all this is what we're going to be talking about next month is there's all these 10 commandments. Don't murder, don't commit adultery and all these things. And if you believe in Jesus and you don't commit the physical acts, you have eternal life. Even if you're doing these things not physically, you still get the eternal life and you believe in all that stuff. You're set. That's like the main thing that any of us have to do. However, if you lust over another woman you're married and you're committing adultery in your heart, or you're hating on someone, like wishing someone was like imagining them dead or whatever, and just like, argh, and you're not committing murder, but you're doing it in your head. All of these different things you could do in your head. You're not stealing something, but you dream about something, whatever it is. And then this thing attaches and you can think about it more and you got to fight to get rid of it. When you do these things, you still have your eternal life. When you're doing it in your head, you're not causing the physical act, but you're limited on the spiritual power and life that you can get in this life. You can't get crazy amounts of spiritual power. I mean, Jesus can make anything happen. Don't get me wrong. But from the mechanic standpoint, you're stuck and you're just in this constant battle. I lived there for many years as part of training and stuff. And it happens quite frequently now. But it's on a different level. It's different. So this is what I'm talking about when I say ignorance is bliss. Like if you know this, but it's all about like when you have more spiritual power, you have more life, but you suffer more too. It's just like a whole. We're going to go into that next week. Okay. I just want to make sure I cover everything before we go into the next section, which is training, which was kind of training. So remember, their entire sole purpose is to get you not to believe. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to go into spiritual training here. Let's take a look at what people are saying. If anybody's saying anything. Can we join the live on panel on the 10 Commandments? I don't know what that means. Maybe you could explain that. You mean like be here and speaking and stuff? Oh, Joe says, hi, Matt, that was me. Joe, I told you I'm very rough here. I never do that anytime but here. It's critical. He says this is the person who said that he had this little splurge saying Matt was, I declare that you were this. Let's see what he says about it. I was praying for you, of course, in the name of God. Well, that's great. That's great. I'm just saying in certain instances that can happen. But it's not your choice to determine what happens to me. Like you could pray for me, but you're declaring that I am going to heal and be healthy and da-da-da-da. Was that God coming through you or was that something else? And don't get me wrong, I believe in Jesus and I'm like, I do everything in my power, but other things come through, you know? And you got to like discern. It's like an ongoing thing. So someone's saying, talk with me. Like just, you mean like you're talking with me right now or you're speaking to where everybody could hear you? What I like to do is people can ask questions beforehand, or you can ask questions right here. And again, you guys, this is like the time I spend with my daughter, you know? I love doing this and don't get me wrong. Like I'm not here to like become a guru or brag or anything like this. I'm screwed if I don't do this. All I'm saying is like this is for you guys. It's not like there's no bragging. I'm just sharing with, I can't like hide what I believe. And it's not like a bragging thing. Okay. On the panel with you, Matt, on the 10 Commandments. I'm assuming that means you have free to talk and everything like that. I can't do something like that for what I'm doing here. You can ask questions though, and you can dispute, you can do whatever you want here, and it's fine. Okay. So now, as I said in the newsletter, the first one, not the last one, I said that first we're going to talk about the hierarchy of the spiritual world, which we just did. And then every month we're going to go into like some spiritual training too. I also have some more questions here from Stephanie, who's like on this. Now, Stephanie here, she's working really hard in trying to believe in Jesus Christ, but I have a strong feeling that she's like one of the type of people who, oh, Jesus walked the earth and he was an enlightened master, but is he truly the Son of God? Does he have power over all? I don't think she's there yet. And we've got her questions. So anyway. Okay. Okay, so there's a saying in the Bible that Jesus says, I believe it was Jesus. Yeah, it was Jesus. He says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. This is critical to understand. This is like your choice, your power, your yes and your no. So as we talked about in the previous Hangouts and in my video where I talked about all this type of stuff, I said, not all thoughts are our own. What? Not all thoughts are our own. For example, many of you might just be hanging out, not focusing the best, and all of a sudden you get this like strong desire and urge to take the scissors and stab the dog. Now, obviously, we're not going to act upon that, but we would not purposefully choose to take the scissors and stab the dog. And these evil thoughts that come through our being aren't just a whisper in the ear. It's an entire full body experience. The vibrational aspects, the thought comes in, the urge comes in, everything comes in, and that was not you. But it's not just a whisper in the ear. It's a whisper in the ear with the full body experience, with the urge and everything like that. And these are spiritual entities trying to control you. They're trying to literally get you to act on that vibrational feeling and thought and everything and take the scissors and stab a dog. And some people are so messed up, they probably would do it. And this is what I mean when I say that there are entities out there spreading false information, getting podcast people to be like, oh yeah, there's really true ancient scriptures that I heard about that are doing this, and the Bible has been altered. Their entire purpose is to get you not to believe, which is your life's purpose, is to believe. So so all thoughts are not our own. And this is where possession comes into play. So this is where I was saying, I was trying to remember where I was coming with all this. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. So at some point, the most disgusting, heinous thought is just going to come through your being with the urge and everything. And you have no control over it. It's not like, don't fall into insecurity thinking like you did this. It's something you have to understand. That's like what focus is for. You like feel it, it's like a wave. Like when you get in the ocean, you get crashed, and you're just waiting for the wave to pass, and you can come back up and get air and stuff. You're just waiting for the wave to pass. It's just a vibrational serpent like coming through, and you're like in its body, and you just have to wait for it to go through. And to get rid of it, that's where our focus and attention comes from. And so these thoughts can be like nasty, heinous, grotesque, disgusting. You just can't believe what's going on, and you feel guilty. And then they play on that guilt. So this is where your power comes in. Your yes be yes and your no be no. So let's say this heinous thought comes in. It's just absolutely disgusting. And you think it's yourself, and you feel like you are like evil. What you could say is, no, I don't accept that. That's not me. No, that's not me. I don't agree with what just came in. You are announcing to the spiritual world, no. You don't want to be saying yes in that situation. You are saying no. And now you're a king or queen. You have said, no, that's not me. And let's just say you do that. You've declared to Jesus and everyone out there, no, I don't accept that. You have stated your position. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. But let's say it just continues on. You can't stop the thoughts. It's like you're in this zone and it keeps coming. No, no, but it just keeps coming. What you could do in a situation like this is just get out of it. Take cold water, splash it on your face. You got to get yourself out of it. You're in like a trance. You know what I mean? And then just get on with your day. Do something. Like you just got to do it. Sometimes, I'm always telling you to focus, and people are like in these questions. She's talking about attention and how important it is and stuff like this. When you focus, like let's say you're in this trance and you're focusing, you might be dialing into the trance even more. So sometimes you got to take yourself out, if that makes sense. There's no like technique. Technique is like a danger. Every moment is different. Focus and attention is important at one point, but at another point it might not be. So when you try to create spiritual procedures, no. The most important thing with your life being on the line is one, believing. If you do that, I don't want to say nothing else matters, but you're set. That's number one. That's like the main thing you got to do. And then secondly, follow the commandments to the best of your ability. Okay, so Stephanie's saying I'm wrong. She says, I was raised Catholic. I'm here to be different, better Christian. I have no doubt, and I'm very happy about that. That's just incredible. I'm just saying, like, we have spoken at other points before this whole Christ on the Edge thing, where I could sense that you weren't at that point, if that makes sense. Let me know if you think I'm wrong again there, because I would like to know that. But before this era, I believe it now, especially based off of like how adamant and excited you are about all this. I do believe it now. But let me know. Let me know if I'm wrong, Okay. So that's training section 2. The first one, I don't even remember what it was. The second one is, I think I need more Magtine. Just kidding. Okay. The second one is what we just went over. Yeah. Yes be yes, no be no. Okay, so I have some other notes. We're just going through training. These are just random things that as I'm like on my walk and I'm like thinking about what to tell you guys, I get downloads. They just come in, like the SBS just came in. Where did that come from? He just gives it to me. I don't know. We're talking plainly of the Father. He's just like, we are at this point in history, biblical history, where we are talking plainly of the Father from Jesus Christ. Okay. So as we were just saying, like every moment is different and you can't like have technique, but this focus work is a method. I know it's very contradicting the spiritual world. It is a method. It's your spiritual, it's like a spiritual weapon. It's like I have stuff going on right now and I could like stare at it right now and remove it. It's a spiritual weapon. It works, but sometimes you can't figure out what's going on, and like the technique you used yesterday doesn't work today and stuff like that. But the focus and attention is critical. It's like when you're driving a car home and you reach home and you don't even remember driving. It's like, what? Where were you? What happened? Okay, so there are going to be times when you're doing this focus work and you're working on like this area. Let's say you have like a ulcer or something, or like something that you're working on, and you're staring it down, and all of a sudden there's like this pain. It almost feels like a physical pain, and you're just like staring at it, and but it's really on the spiritual level. And once you've stared at it long enough, and hopefully did the right techniques for that moment in time, all of a sudden it releases, and that pain that you're feeling might not even be you. So let me explain. So like when something is attached to you, I called it a tentacle before, it could be something else too. It's almost like if you're staring it down, it's like your spiritual weapon. And it might not actually be your pain, but its pain. And it's feeding off of you. So it wants to stay there with all of its might. And it will do everything in its power, even if it's in pain, to stay there so it can continually take your energy. And when you get it removed, that output of energy is gone. But it's going to go through suffering as it sits there. And then when it just can't take it anymore, it leaves. And it's just, oh, well, it lost that little energy source that you just removed. And so what your focus is like, this thing is like a leech, just like in there. And when you focus, you'll start to see it more. It's just like sticking on you, right? And then your focus and attention is like, let's say, how do you get rid of a leech? Do you, I don't know, maybe this isn't how you do it, but you burn it on fire maybe, and it will stay as long as it can because it wants your blood and energy. And then finally it can't take the pain anymore and it falls off. Well, your focus is like that burning flame, and it will take it for as long as it can. And it's like claws and tentacles and all these things are going to start like moving around, and it's going to feel like it's you're suffering. And it's like it's going to finally, it's like you just stare at it like this burning, your focus is the flame, and then finally it can't take it anymore and like goes off. And so the pain inside of you might not even be related to you, but the thing that is that is in there. Okay, so let's say that you've been playing this game all along, and you're doing this focus work, and there's this thing that's inside of you, and you're like doing really well with it, and then all of a sudden, like a little pride comes in, and which is this thing, and it goes like, I'm so powerful, I can get you out easily. You know what I mean? You feel like all strong and mighty. And so it will trick you to think that you're making progress or whatever. Realize that that's not you, or it won't be removed. Watch out for prideful thoughts while you're doing this type of thing. Another thing is like, with Jesus, he was saying that there was this I don't remember what it was, like a rich person or someone in like a Sadducees or something, and then like a poor person. They were both praying next to each other, and the poor person was like, "I'm so sorry. I am a sinner. I am the worst. I am." And then there's this Sadducees or whatever it was, Pharisee, could be anything. I don't remember the scripture 100%. He's like, "Look at this guy. He should be more like me, God." Da, 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 da. And it's like God looks at this and is just like, oh God, like that's just pride and everything like this. And this is who he loves. You know what I mean? So there's going to be times, let's say like you're doing this focus work and you feel one of these things so rooted into you. It's like in your muscular structure. It feels like it's in your nervous system, like just in your nerves. And you're sitting there just like handling one strand at a time as you suffer, and then it finally releases in the next strand of this thing. And you're like locating all the different areas. And then you might ask yourself like, why? why must I suffer? I don't know the answer to this, but if I had to choose two reasons, it could be one of two, could be both. One is just like this versus the Sadducees and this beggar, we're sinners, all of us. Me, big time. And the results can be this. And then another thing, as I was saying with Paul, is we pick up our cross and suffer, and this is what we do. Also, you might just be starting at this and you've had these things like embedded in you forever, and now you're like trying to make progress. Just don't get bitter. This is just like, for example, in my retreat, I told you I removed all these spirits from some. There's this like one person there who was like bitter at God, bitter at life. Why must I suffer? Bitterness is nasty. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be grateful for your life and everything like this. So I always get the finger pointed at me. This is like a big deal. This happens to me all the time. And, this is why I do Christ on the Edge. Like a lot of militant Christians are always like, and never judge others. You never know the full story. Never point your finger at someone. You never know the full story. Let's say you see someone committed adultery, or let's say you could see the spiritual world and you could see all the inner workings of that going down. And they're just like lustful and stuff. You don't know the entire story. Like maybe Jesus is allowing them to be completely inundated for a learning experience to the point where they committed physical adultery. You never know. You just don't know. It's kind of like the situation where they were ready to stone a woman because she committed physical adultery. And Jesus showed up and he was like, what one of you who has not sinned? Everyone else, put your rock down if you have sinned. Everyone just like walked away shamefully, and the woman was free to go. And he just said, don't sin again. You never know the whole story. Like, for example, don't get me wrong, I love this woman who was going like this to me about putting God's name in vain. I don't believe that I was, personally. Maybe in my judgment day, I'm going to be, I don't think so. I never put his name in vain in a bad way. Like, that's not even putting his name in vain. I understand that many militant Christians think that. And don't get me wrong, I love this woman. She's incredible. I know people's names and all my associations with them in customer service and stuff like that. Darn, I can't remember what I was going to say about that. It will come back to me. But we never want to judge another person because we don't know like the whole story behind it. And it's none of our business. It's like, let people be. It's just what needs to happen. Like, there's just no judging. That's why he says, do not judge. It's just like, let it be. Like, let the person be. That's what we don't want. Like, that's what put all these children away from the truth who were militant, blah, 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 blah. But for the person who I love, I'm talking about, there was something really nice I was going to say. I can't remember what it was, but I'm hoping it will come to me. I've been tricked many times. Oh, yeah. I remember now. So she was going like this about saying, oh my God, if that was the worst thing I've ever done, I'd be a saint. Some of the stuff that I have done is, I don't deserve to be alive, is the way I look at it. Like, I'm just going to be straight out. Like, you want to pick on that with me? You could pick on some things that are way worse than that. I mean, I've been forgiven, I hope. But come on. Oh my God. What I'm saying is, like, who cares about saying, oh my God? Like, we got to look at like the lethalness behind all this. Saying, oh my God, as in reflex or gesture. Yes, if you say God with the D word, like what a beaver makes to stop water, that's not a good thing. And you got to like, sorry, and restructure. But I'm saying, oh my God, this is so wondrous, Lord. You made the screen dirty when I'm like claiming to be some almighty prophet. Not a prophet. I'm not saying I am or anything like that. I'm just trying to make this a funny scenario. And I'm sitting here having to clean it and stuff like that. It was like just classic. And then earlier today, the cat was vomiting here. Like it was just classic. Oh my God. Please. Okay. So always know that you are, every one of us here watching is a sinful little piece of poop. I'm trying to keep the words as nice as possible. It's just what is. That's what you are. That's what I am. I know it. So don't forget that. If you find yourself saying, oh, I was, like that Sadducees who's like talking down about that person, like, no. Anything bad that happens to you, anything that's bad has happened to me, I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, thank you for allowing that bad thing to happen to me so you don't just strike me dead. So there's no need to ever get in somebody else's business. It's not your job. It's Jesus's job. Let him do it. It's like he's the judge. He's the one who's going to make it right. If what I did by saying, oh my God, was so bad, he'll make it right for you, this person who said that. Like, you don't need to worry. Don't get into my business, because once you get into my business, you got to watch out. You got to watch out because you never know whose business you're getting into. It's just better to not get into other businesses. You could pray for them. You could pray for me if you think what I did was wrong, but Jesus will make it right. Trust me. I've been made right many times and it hurts. Okay. So when we're doing the spiritual work, and I'm not 100% certain, this is just my spiritual structure and what I've seen through myself. I've been gifted a lot of sight. I don't even want to say gifted. I've been given a lot of sight. This is not necessarily a good thing. Trust me. And I mean, I love it. This is what I want. But remember, I was telling you, like I was walking in Vilcabamba and these Hare Krishnas were trancing people with the drums and they were pulling energy, and I could see that. It's like I was given that sight. And then I looked at it and I was like, what are you doing? And I was gifted that sight, and I felt it zap me and I saw the comments come in. Like, this was like everyone there on some unconscious level knew exactly what was going on, but they're completely unconscious about it, the humans. They felt it, but everyone's unconscious to these feelings. And some might be so inundated with energy drains that they just don't, everybody is experiencing this. It's just different on other things. So the question is, how did I get this? And it's not a choice. I don't have a choice in the matter. It's not like I said, hey, I want this. So I've talked about it like this before. I made a commitment. This is the greatest chance you have at getting it. As I told you, but be careful. I had everything, like I reached the point of like, I had a lot of money at the time. I had my retreat center, all those houses. I had everything you could possibly imagine at the time, right? Had my health, had my family, everything was like grand. And I'm sitting there like some bored rich kid. And I'm like, just learned about Jesus. And I'm like, Jesus, please, I want to take it all the way. Nothing, I was on my couch. Nothing is more important to me than this. I will do anything. I'm willing to give up everything. Like, I just don't care. Like, this is the most important thing to me. Please take me all the way. Sorry, remember we talked about last week. Sorry for everything I've done to this point, from this point forward, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this, making that commitment. And I did that at the same time. I've made a vow kind of deal. I don't mess around. I mean, I screw up, don't get me wrong. And I get on my hands and knees and say, sorry, please forgive me. I deal with crazy spiritual chaos for days on end until I get out of it. And then what pursued to get the spiritual sight? I lost my health. I ended up bedridden for 7 years. I almost lost my family. There's still issues there. Like I'm just, like they got burned hard. I mean, I'm so blessed. Like I cannot ask for more with my family. Like I'm so happy. Like I've been accepted back in and all that other stuff. But I'm just saying, I lost my health. I couldn't, like, you saw how skinny I got. I lost all my wealth, all the money I had. Lost my health. Was bedridden for like on and off for 7 years. Was just like tortured in the hospital. The surgeon, I don't even know if he was conscious, it was a directed spiritual attack, and they didn't allow me to have pain meds the day after surgery for like 24 hours because I vomited, and his reasoning was because I vomited, it was because of the pain meds. I was screaming. They took me an x-ray. I was downstairs screaming because I just had like, it was the second more gentle surgery, but it ain't gentle. They're reattaching stuff. And I'm like screaming as we're going down to the x-ray room. And this woman nurse or doctor was just like, this isn't right. Like, and then I would hit the nurse button 100 times. They wouldn't come because the surgeon told them to just, no, he's stupid. All night, I was just sitting there in my vomit, freezing, no pain meds. It was just cut open the day before. Anyway, so I went through a lot. Okay, so, and before that, I was doing heavy meditation, like I was into, when you move on to spiritual stuff. Okay, so when, okay, she's right. So when let's just say like, sometimes at night when I'm in a completely rested state, I do this focus work sometimes and remove a lot of stuff. I do it first thing in the morning when I wake up sometimes. Sometimes I'll do it during the day, whatever. So sometimes I just like dedicate that time. And I notice from me, there's a couple areas where I'm focusing within my physical structure. One is in the colon area, and the other one is like in the chest area. And it's, all over, like things are attaching and stuff. And talking to the Father plainly. And I do this focus work. And these are the areas where the chaos is happening a lot of the time. And I don't know the answer for every single one of you, but I do believe that could be like a spiritual center where these things are happening. And as I've talked about in previous videos, like this focus work is critical, like, like praying or whatever. And like Eastern mysticism has capitalized on it with meditation. And then they drain your energy at the end. If you know what I'm talking about, you could see that. Like they get people to meditate and then they create a tingly vibration sensation where they just take it all. It's like their life force. Let's say all those people believed in Jesus Christ, where are they going to get their energy from? They lost it all. Or in yoga, like everyone builds up all the spiritual energy, and then at the end, in the relaxation period, they create this tingly sensation. You did such a good job, and the serpent goes around the room pulling on it. What if all those people believed in Jesus Christ? They would lose that. So, so all of these yoga, meditation, Eastern mysticism pulls from truths to create their own little structures. So like the chest and the chest is more hard. I like the stomach area was the most the many years was the first section, and then it kind of like then I was more focusing on the chest too. So these are spiritual. I don't even want to call them centers because this is playing into that whole Reiki like new age nonsense. And but it's true, like in the stomach area, I believe I like focus it. Like I have this one move where I just like lay in bed and I cross my hands like this, and I just have this like superpower, like I don't know what it is. And I'm just like when I'm in that position, I'm like really focusing for many years. There were times where I would do that. I'd fall asleep aware and it felt like astral travel, and I would like leave my body through my third eye. It was insane. But you don't want to do that, I believe, because it's a world of spiritual drainage. So I don't do that anymore. If I catch myself like floating away like that, I stop. And so that area, these areas has been manipulated and taken into new age stuff like the chakra system. Oh, the third eye chakra, or the, yes, that exists. The heart chakra. Oh my goodness, let me give you Reiki, like the heart chakra. And then they like do all these things, and what they're doing is just like inputting into that heart of yours, this area, those tentacles that are just like they're just like, they're creating that tingly sensation to where they could just feed on you for as long as it takes you to realize and get rid of that and learn your lesson. Or your belly chakra, like this is what's happening. And the person who's actually doing this to you, who's an expert in Reiki, might not even be conscious. If she's conscious of it, she's probably controlled by something. The Reiki god. Do you see what I'm saying here? You have to be careful on all levels. Don't see a person a therapist. I wouldn't go through. I mean, I would do it just for the other person so they get peace. But like, don't go to a future fortune teller. Don't go to, I don't even like massages because you never know. You got to be very careful with that type of thing. A Reiki master. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, but they capitalize on this. These are centers where there's spiritual stuff going on, and they turn it into this love thing when they're just like, and then and don't get me wrong, when they're inserting themselves into you, and it's not them, it's like, it's like a tingly sensation. Oh, I want that again. And you're going to go again and go again to Reiki session again and again and again. Because you want that heightened, it's just venom. It's just like, it's like, it feels good. But in essence, no. All right, we've been going for a while here. It's a tingly, venomous, vibrational experience is what I wrote. Okay, so just to wrap this up. Okay, okay, let's just read these things. Okay, so one person wrote, I appreciate your boldness and have enjoyed watching you grow into Jesus Christ through the years. Okay, sounds like you're describing a malignant spiritual ecosystem, and we have to be cautious not to become fertilizer for it. I like that analogy. Okay, that's it over here. You guys, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're fucked. Screwed. The window is short. You never know when you're going to die. I probably got 25 years, okay, 10, because I'm messed up. I got like 10 to 25 years left in my life. Do you know how fast that goes? It's like done already. It's just like a, we're all dead. was kind of not the best, but I'm just trying to drive through. Okay, so here we go. This is the person who. I'm almost done, guys. Okay, I don't know, Leanne. Your name's here, so I don't think people matter if you. Okay, when I learned that not all thoughts were my thoughts, it set me free. I replaced the incorrect thoughts with a scriptural truth that counters it. I never take ownership of any transient thought. Nice. Okay, I'm going to go to our second question because the first one is like, I don't know what she's talking about. Okay. She said she wrote this on Little Sleep. Then we're going to summarize everything and then we're going to get going. Okay. Does self-improvement guard us against unclean spirits? Or does constant change make us easier targets while we're mid-transformation? The better you become, the harder something seems to push back. Okay, so what do you consider self-improvement? Eating a better diet, exercising more? Self-improvement is believing in Jesus Christ. That's the biggest self-improvement. Right there, that's the number one self-improvement mission you can do. That's like the biggest transformative one. And then fighting to follow the 10 commandments, because every moment is a fight to follow those 10 commandments. Every moment, these things are trying to get you to break the 10 commandments. That is your new purpose in life. So it's not about becoming better. I mean, it is about becoming better, and it's to train you too. So that right there is like that act of following the 10 commandments. Whenever the feeling of, like, let's say you're a married person, you lust for the opposite sex, doing everything in your power not to do that is becoming a better person. That's all you have to do. And that's where focus comes in. You just have to keep doing this all day, every day until you die. So that's self-improvement. If you're talking about diet and exercise, self-improvement, or doing massage to where you loosen something up and, or that type of stuff, you might open a channel or something ridiculous, but it has no bearing on all that. Is just self-improvement nonsense is just like nothing when it comes to this, in my opinion. Okay, let's read the first question. Okay. Can attention work as a spiritual shift? We're stopping to face uncomfortable sensations we ignore becomes the mechanism that moves us from dark influences to Jesus' guidance. Like Mad Eye Moody's all-seeing eye, or scriptures call watch and pray. The vigilance seems crucial. What does attention mean to you? And do you use it for, how do you practice it? So Jesus can do anything. Like, there have been times, like, it could take me hours to just like clean up a little bit and I'm still not done, but like he could just like in that's a gift. Attention isn't always a positive spiritual shift. Like, sometimes a thing comes in and you believe it's you and you're doing something evil, but you're convinced you're doing something good, and you're focusing on that and letting it go more and more and more. And this attention is working against you now. This focus work is now working against you. You gotta splash water on your face, do what you gotta do, if that makes sense. Anyway, so guys, the hierarchy of the spiritual world. God gifted all power to Jesus Christ, his son. He is now the Son of God. Everything else underneath him cannot touch him. They don't have enough power. They can't do it. They don't have the ability. They couldn't even scratch him, pinch him. They couldn't even like touch him. There's nothing they could do. And he has the power to not allow them to touch you. And it's just a bloody war over here. And your purpose in life, if you're watching this and you don't believe in Jesus Christ, is to believe in Jesus Christ, or you're fucked. Sorry for saying this over and over again, but it's true. This is my message to you. Believe, or you're in trouble. It's just that simple. I'm not going to say you're going to hell, you're doing this, I don't know what happens. but you are in trouble. And then after that, you just got to do your best to follow the 10 commandments. And it's a freaking whirlwind. We just went through so many different contradictions and scenarios and possibilities. It's almost like exciting, fun, exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. So guys, good luck. And as we said, make that commitment. I'm sorry. Everything I did up to this point, I will never do it again, but you better not do it ever again, and do everything in your power not to. This is the grandest, greatest move you can make to growing spiritually. All right, guys. So the next time we come on, we're at 1 hour, 20 minutes. We're going to talk about the 10 commandments, but we're going to go a little bit deeper than what it's actually, just like the 10 commandments, if that makes sense. Might be a month, might be a month and a half. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of downloads I get. We'll do some spiritual training like we did today on different aspects, like the leech and burning it, and let your yes be yes and your no be no. You're stating your position. Pride comes in and you're thinking you're almighty and powerful against these things you're taking out. You just lost. And I don't know, remember that Christian story and how the hierarchy works. You're untouchable. It won't feel like you're untouchable because we suffer in the Lord Jesus Christ, but nothing can touch you. Nothing. You're set. You're set for life. All you got to do is believe. All right, everybody. In Jesus Christ. Love you, Lord Jesus Christ. Okay. See you next time, guys. End stream.